Okay. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. And good night or good morning, wherever your time zone is. I finally we're back at the fourth episode or series, fourth of the series of my art lesson. It's been 2 weeks since I've done the last art lesson, as you know. It's yeah, like I've been busy for the past 2 weeks, and yeah, finally I can teach you guys some art again. But wait, I think that's Raymax, right? Raymax, no talk in Japanese, please. English only, okay? Or I'm not gonna read your chat because I cannot read Japanese yet. All right. So before we start the actual lesson for today, I'm gonna be like recapping the last week's lesson, which is the shading lesson. Where is it? I think this one. Oh no. Now, let's recap the last week lesson, which is the basic shading. And actually, a lot of people ask me, DM me on Discord that some of them are confused by like how the shading works. And I'm not gonna explain you in a easier way to explain, but yeah, I'm just gonna recap it. So, and hopefully you can understand it more clearly now. Wait, where is it? This one. All right. Basic shading, yo, basic shading. Let's go. So I'm just gonna go fast, okay? So the importance of shading is to add the value or to make your illustration more contrast. And if you don't know what contrast is like the light one is more lighter and the dark one is more darker, like that. So the value or the level of bright and dark in the illustration must be seen. This is important, must be seen. So yeah, like for this illustration, for example, there's a light part here and then the dark part here. You can see like all of them clearly, unlike the left one because it's not shaded at all. And then this is the example of good illustration. The bright and dark are visible, the levels are vary from very light to very dark, and then you can identify like which one is which. Like for example, like for the shirt, there are tons of layers for the shirt. Like for example, this one has the like the top of the layer, and then this one is from the money bag. You can see clearly because of the shading. Like the dark one is here, and you can see like the folds here, the dark one here. So yeah, so the purpose of this value is just to separate things. Wi-Fi slow this time. I'll be a little bit. Oh, that's okay. Okay, so how light and shadow works? This is the confusing part, but actually not. And you really need to like search for a lot of references, not just portrait, but just real life references. Or maybe you can take. Maybe you have like a ball in your home, and you can put your ball in the table, and then you can like light it up, so you can see the shadow and light. Yeah, and then okay, let's learn. So if the light is soft, and so do the object. Usually this applies to like in anime style. It can be applied to like the background, because the background in anime style looks more realistic than the anime character. So yeah, if the light is soft, then so do the object. Look at this one. The light comes from this way, and then the highlight, like this, the brighter part, it's placed like this. And then if the light is hard, then so do the object, like this one. You can see how circular the highlight is from the lighting itself. And then the shape of the light follows this object shape, like this one, for example. This one is square or cube, and look at the highlight. It follows the shape of the object, like that. Next one is the shadow is placed behind the object. Like of course, you can do it by yourself, like putting your hand in front of the flashlight, your phone's flashlight, and you guys can see the shadow like the behind the object. So yeah, and then the farther the shadow, the blurrier it gets. Like for example, this one is the shadow is for this one is closer, and then it gets farther and it gets more blurrier. And you guys can try it by yourself to so you guys can understand more. And then the shape of the shadow is the opposite of the object. Like this one, for example, it gets inverted and then it gets distorted. Like this is like a just circular object. Where's the mouse? Okay, this is like a circular object, but the shadow is not circular at all. It's more like an oval shape, like this one. And don't forget the blurry one, because this one is the farther. So yeah, it gets blurrier at this part. This shading on human skin, you have to think anatomy like a shape. Like for example, this one, this one is arm. So arm, you need to think it like tube, like a tube, like two tubes like holding together, like this one. So that's why when the light comes from this way, the shadow is placed behind, not behind, like the opposite way of it. And of course, don't use black skin, and actually don't use black color tone in shading, except for black t-shirt. So yeah, you have to use like more just darker color, not the complete solid black like this one, because it will look more unnatural. And then next one is human skin is reflective. Of course, you guys can try it by yourself. You guys can just go to if you have any like a blue wall, like myself, I myself has like a blue wall in behind of mine. I can just put my hands like beside of it, and my skin can look more bluier, more blue. And then when it gets hit by strong sunlight, like this one, there will be a little red color accent. Maybe it's a subtle thing, like a little nice detail, and you don't really need to like do this all the time. It just adds a little detail for it. And then shading on skin object. And okay, remember this one, okay? When the object is closer with the skin, the shadow is closer too. But when the object is farther, and so do the shadow. Like for example, like this one. Like for example, this one is like almost touch the skin. So that's why the shadow is closer to the object. And except for this one is more like a floating. So that's why the shadow is farther than the object, like this. It can be placed more farther than this, but yeah. One thing that is important to shading is you don't really need to make it as realistic as possible, because the most important thing is the value, so that people can identify which one is which. That is what's important. You don't really need to like make it more really realistic. Like you need to take a photo of a real life photo and then make it like 100% like that. You don't really need to do that. And this one is just another example, like shirt, sleeves, skirt, and hair. And I actually have done the breakdown of this illustration last week or last 2 weeks. I mean last 3 weeks. You guys can search up the playlist, because I have the playlist for this art lesson. I've broken down like the shading, how the shading works, how the highlight, why the shadow is here, the highlight is here, etc. So yeah, I'm not gonna break it down again. So yeah, we're gonna head to the actual lesson for today, which is advanced shading, or it's more like a lighting lesson, because shading is just shadow and light actually. But lighting is more complicated than that, because lighting has a lot of colors. Like for example, the lighting from the night scenes, or lighting from dawn scenes, or early in the morning. They have their own color and color tone. Like of course, when it's dawn, it will look more orangey, and if it's night, it would look more like a blue color tone. So yeah, add fan shading. Wait, okay, yeah, this is what you will learn today. Oh wait, lighting in photography, and then lighting in anime, and then lighting plus environment. Yes, we're gonna be learning photography today. Even though you don't have to, you still need to learn a bit of it, because like illustration is actually comes from photography. Like you guys can see a cinematography in an anime. Like for example, like one of my current favorite anime, Chainsaw Man. It has a lot of cinematography to it. They really learned a cinematography just to make the anime. So yeah, and then we're gonna be learning this lighting in photography. There is a term. Oh, Hajime, hello. Let's learn art, Hajime. Even though you don't have to. You have a lot of lesson in school. You don't have to take this lesson too. But it's okay. Thank you for coming here. Alright, lighting in photography. In my college, my teacher taught me a term in photography that is painting with light. That's a beauty term right there. So photography is painting with light. But how do you paint with light actually? You just need to place the lighting like wherever you want to. Like yeah, wherever you want to, and then it can make more dramatic. You can make it more brighter, etc. You guys, all you need to do is just place the lighting, and it will turn into a painting, quote unquote painting. That's in photography, okay? And then same like color theory and character design, and then yeah, etc. Lighting can be created to express mood, personality, and also emotion. So yeah, like this for example. Front lighting is actually the worst lighting because of the flatness. Because when you look at this picture right here, it doesn't have like a defined shading and defined highlight. It just straight up place the lighting in the front, it would look flat. So that's why this is the worst lighting. But you can use this one too for like a flat illustration that doesn't have a shading. It has a beauty on its own. So yeah, it's okay to use this sometimes. Depends on your art style. Yeah. But in photography, we use this to ID card, photo of suspect, and it doesn't sound nice, right? So that's why we don't really use this type of lighting in a photography. Yeah. And then the second one is beauty light or top light. It really fits to portrait, especially character portrait, because why is it called beauty light actually? Because the shadow beneath the head or below the head can make people look more skinnier. Yeah, I don't really need to explain why. Maybe it's because the jawline can look more refined like this, so you can see the jawline clearly. Maybe that's why it's called beauty light. So usually in anime, he uses this. And then side light, or yeah, just place the lighting on 90 degree. It to show how dramatic and mysterious the scene is. And then Rembrandt light is to show the dramatic feeling. There is and you guys can see it. Can see like a triangle, like a flip triangle on this side. Here, it's called Rembrandt light. Both of this type of lighting are the same actually, just to make it more dramatic. And then bottom light is to make your object or character more terrifying, like this one. I don't know if you guys have done this, but I've done this a lot to my friend. Like I just turn on my phone flashlight and then just to scare them for no reason. And then this one is backlight or rim light, is to make your character look more mysterious. Like you guys cannot see who's this, even though you know this person. Even though you know this person and you put the lighting like just in the back of them, that character wouldn't look like someone at all. Yeah, just make your character more mysterious. Or you can just do this to separate object with the background. Like this one. When you don't have a lighting at all, it would look just complete blank. Like a only black illustration or photography. So that's why this lighting is used to separate between object and a background. I never knew Nico's class was complicated. Yeah. That's why art is hard. But it's hard to master than hard to learning. It's easy to learn this, right? You don't need to remember like all of this actually. You guys can just use beauty light like in every illustration and that's okay. And then yeah, we're heading to the lighting in anime. Yeah, in anime style, see? In anime style, usually they use beauty light because the main purpose is to show the attractiveness of that character. Because of course, you want to make your character to look more beautiful, so that's why. But all types of lighting has its own purpose too in an anime scenes, not just beauty light. So for example is, oh wait, I don't need to explain this one. Why is it like a beauty light? Because it comes from the top side. You guys can see the brighter side on the top of this hair, and then you guys can see a little bit of highlight in the nose because it comes from the top, and then the brighter part from the hand like this. Yeah, that's why it's a beauty light. And then okay, this is for an anime scenes, right? Okay, beauty light or top light is for a normal scene where nothing happens, like this one. Just a normal looking girl just holding a phone, like nothing happens. You guys can use just beauty light. And then for a semi-dramatic scenes, like this one for example from Death Note, because the tone of the show is more serious and shonen, so that's why they use this type of lighting a lot. Like it comes from 45-degree lighting, and then it creates like a triangle at this one. And then side light is to dramatize the emotion of a character, either sad or angry. You guys can use this also just to make a shape more not see-through, more refined. The shape of the character look more refined, like this one for example. You guys can see how the nose is placed like this, and then the mouth, etc. And the hand also. So yeah, it can be used to create dimension and also to dramatize the scene. And then there is a backlight or rim light. It can be used to a dramatic scenes also. And yeah, just the same as photography, to separate between character and the background, like this one for example. And then the last one is bottom light. Same like photography, to make your character more terrifying. But in anime, they can use this to make a character look terrified, not just terrifying but terrified. And then it can be shown to like a villain character that have like a really evil plan. And yeah, you can use it bottom light to this, like this for example. And you can add the eye glows too, like this one, to make your character to look more like a villain, like an actual villain. And then this is the guide. Then an easy guide. You guys can just replicate the lighting. And yeah, you don't really need to like remember the exact position of it, as long as the shape is, yeah. The more important of the shading is the shape actually. Nah, yeah, like yandere. You're exactly right. And the lighting is environment. This one is a practical light. And then this is actually a new lighting type practical light is lighting that appears in the background, like this for example, and the lighting is in the window. The purpose of this is just to connect between character and the background, because for this like this since for example, because the lighting comes from the right side, so that's why the lighting on the character face is placed on the right side like this. And then this is another example, like this one is the light from necklace. It comes from the necklace, so that's why it glows. And then yeah, the highlight can be seen through this part, and then it can be seen through here, the face, and the jawline here lights up, and then a little lighting to the nose like that. And then another example is the light from window. Why does the necklace light? I don't know. It's a magic. Well, or maybe they actually have like a battery inside of it. I don't know. All right, the second one is light from window, like this one for example, and it can create there's a thing called lens flare. Like this straight line is lens flare. You guys can see it when you like take a picture of a sun. You don't really need to try it, but or maybe just look the lamps above you, and then you guys can take a picture of it. It will create a lens flare like this. It's a creative way with practical light. And the last one is light from lamps, like this one for example. The lamps comes from the behind, so that's why it creates like a outline for the character like this. And then these are the creative ways to play with your lighting, like this one for example. This comes from a window, and the good thing about this illustration is you don't really need to see the window just to identify if it's a window or not. You guys can see it from the, like this one, the shadow and the rectangular shape of the lighting. So that's why it's a creative way to just show the window. And then this one is from, I don't know what object can create a lighting like this, but yeah, it's a creative way. And then yeah, violet, you're right, it's violet evergarden. And then this one is from flower, because this environment has a lot of flowers, so that's why the shape of the lighting and the highlight is looks more like this, more like a flower. And then the second one is leaf or bushes or plants, so you can see it in her cheeks like this, so that's why it can look more like a plant itself. And then the third one is hat, like this one, because of the circular the hat is, so that's why it creates more like it covers up like the half of the face like this. And this one is actually one of my favorite illustration ever. It's from Cousin of Ilya, and look at this one, because of the what to call this hat, what is jerami in English? But yeah, you got some people sell this in a beach, and I actually bought some, and maybe it's lost now because I haven't been gone to beach like years. Yeah, at like on this type of hat, it has a lot of gap to it, so that's why it creates like a highlight that shapes like this, like a dot like that. Yeah, I like this one. Oh, knit hat. It's called knit hat. Yeah, maybe knit hat. Next one is lighting X different times, like this one for example. When it's early in the morning, the direction of the light comes from either left or right of the character. Like this one comes from the back. It will create backlight, and the color is more darker than the other times, like afternoon, etc. And then for afternoon, the light comes from above, right on the top side of the character. That's why it creates a shadow, like For this one, for example, on the bottom of the head, the neck, and then for skirt, it will create shadow on the bottom of the skirt like that. And the color is natural for this one, not natural, just normal color tone. It doesn't turn orange, it doesn't turn blue like other times. Yeah, so it's actually my favorite type of lighting and different environment because I really love like an afternoon scenes like this, because yeah, everything can be seen. Like you guys can see the clothes clearly, the bags, etc. I never encountered any art using early morning. Yeah. It's not common in art because it's hard to shade this one. Like yeah, you really need to understand the shape of the anatomy. And for the shirt, yeah, it's actually a hard one to draw early in the morning. So that's why my favorite is afternoon times. And then this one is night. So as I said before, that the night scenes can look more blue, like this one for example, and the character can look more pale than the other times. And for the dawn, it's more orange, like this one. Yeah, that's actually it for the lighting. And I actually have one more lesson to give you, a clothing lesson. Yeah, because one of the hardest thing about shading is to shading the clothes. The color in the morning is cool, like cold. Not that early, maybe like 6 a.m. But for 5 a.m. it can be more cold or blue. Depends on the time. Okay, this one is clothing. Let's learn clothing. And then yeah, fabric has a lot of types, and each type has their own rules and texture. And then the first one is cotton fabric. This material is easy to fold. Like you guys can just pinch a little of this fabric and it can create like a fold. And then this material is a little reflective and see-through when it's wet, because of course it's the normal rule of cotton fabric. And then the second one is latex, or like a really tight dress or tight suit. This material is really reflective and the highlight can be seen clearly. And one thing to note is a little bit blurry for this one. Like the lighting is a little bit more blurry, and this is because this material has a lot of reflection. Just for example, this one is afternoon lighting, right? Even though the lighting just comes from the top, the light can be reflective like through all of the side of this material. Like on the bottom side, it can light up too, on this side, etc. See through, I often see that in an really NSFW art. Yeah, you're right. And you don't really need to draw that, but if you want to, sure. And then there is a second one type of latex. It's called chroma. I love this type of clothing actually. They usually use this to tech wear, like in a tech wear. It's a chroma type. It can turn to a rainbow when a light hits, like for this one for example. I love this type of clothing. And I've never seen I never drawn this before actually, and I really want to. And then the third one is shading for fur, or just in an animal, or just like what to call this cloth, like winter clothes. Yeah, like winter clothes, they usually have this one, right? And yeah, the shading for this one isn't that blurry because the furs are close to each other. And you guys remember what I thought like 30 minutes ago, that when the object is closer, the shadow can look closer too. So that's why it doesn't usually look blurrier like this, for example. And you guys really need to like look for the reference for this one, because it's hard to just draw it from imagination. Yeah, scarf at the winter. Yeah. And we don't have winter here, so that's why I don't know what to call this one. And then this one is material for steel, aluminum, or gold. And the rules for this one are the light in this material is straight and wider. Like this, for example. The light comes from above and it creates like a straight line like this one. And then it's wider actually, even though the lighting is just a small flashlight. The shape of the highlight is more wider than the actual lighting. And then this material is reflective, but remember that all of the reflection that comes from the lighting will look blurry. Like this, for example. Where's the mouse? Wait. This, for example, it looks blurrier for the highlight and also the shadow. This one, and also for this word. And then another material is glass. For glasses or bottle, the shape of the light is a bit distorted, like this one, for example. What I mean by distorted is either more wider or more bigger for the shape of the light. And then this material is reflective, but the reflection is faded or low opacity. If you know how to use like Photoshop or any other software, we call this like low opacity. So you guys can see like this one, for example, the bottle right here, because the color of the bottle is green, so that's why the light is more greenier because of the color of the bottle. And not blurry actually. This glass usually doesn't look blurry because yeah, it's just science. It's science things. And then another material is crystal, and it has the same rule as glass. And yeah, they're just reflective, and the shape of it follows. Not follows, also just distorted from the lighting. And because of the shape complexity that this one has, the reflection is bouncing at each other. Like this one, for example. This one has 8 sides, and it's bouncing to each other, so it can create a change of color and also a change of shape. And yeah, there are a lot of references for this one. And there's also a prism that can create like a rainbow. Because yeah, my teacher bought it for every one of us just to experiment with it. It's called like a rainbow prism or some. Yeah, it can create like a different color of the shading, even though this, like for this crystal, for example, like this one has like a purple color, and it can turn to a blue color, depends on the type of lighting. Nico, I didn't know you like to watch Violet. Oh my god, that's one of my favorite anime ever. Like nothing can beat the animation of Violet Evergarden. Alright, this one is the hard part. And you don't really need to remember all of this. Or maybe you guys can screenshot from this one. And then yeah, how wrinkles work. First one is drop fold, is for skirt. It's just normal straight line. And why is it just straight line? Because of the gravity. So that's why the line is straight like this. And then compress fold is more like a zigzag. So yeah, you guys can see the zigzag of this one. It's usually for just place your clothes, or maybe like I've seen this type of cloth before. Like dress, in a dress that looks more like this. And then the third one is stretch fold. You guys can try it by yourself. Just try to stretch your clothes, and then it will create stretch fold like this, and then twisted fold is for when you want to make your character jump or rotate. It will create twisted fold like this, and usually it follows the direction where you are turning. And then the fifth one is pipe fold, like this one. This one is just like people, imagine people just grabbing fabric with one hand. It will create a pipe fold like this. Why is it called pipe? It's because of just the shape of it. Looks more like a pipe or tube. And then the second type of pipe fold is just here. Just two pipe folds. It's just like grabbing a fabric with two hands. It will create two pipe folds, and the middle of these two is just like crossing to each other like this. This one is here and this one is here, and then the last one is zigzag. Usually this one is for like a uniform, skirt uniform. And then shirt, the folds are the combination of drop and then compress and then pipe. Drop is this one, just straight line like this, and then compress is this one, and then the third one is pipe. But where is it actually? Like we can break down like only this one illustration, because this one has everything. Like drop fold is this one. This one is drop fold, just straight line, vertical line. And then compress fold is this one, because the character is just folding her arm like this. So that's why it can create like a compress fold, like exactly right here. And then pipe fold is this one on the arm. You guys can see the inside of the shirt like that. That's why it's called pipe fold, because of the gravitation. And this one actually has pipe fold, and then this one also has it too. And then for this one, for the last one, is actually stretch fold. Stretch fold is this one. This one, because this character just holds the shirt like this. That's why it creates like a line that leads to the where the hand is. And then this one is dress. Every dress has a binder in the stomach. I don't know what to call this. I'm not a fashion person, and maybe some of you know about this, but yeah, I'm just gonna call this binder. Okay, it's like a knot that ties the belly. Maybe it's for to make that dress look more skinnier, but I don't know. But usually this one is in the stomach area, because of this binder, dress can have like stretch fold. For this one, for example, it leads to the stomach part, and then also pipe fold, because of it has a lot of pipe folds for this one, like this illustration, for example. You guys cannot just make a 100% singular like skirt. It would look more unnatural, so that's why we created like a zigzag pattern. And also it can create pipe folds like this. It has a lot of pipe folds, especially when the character jumps or rotate. It would look more complicated than this. And then this one is freestyle, or in character design. So they usually combine many type of clothing. Like this, for example, this character has hairpin, and then has a dress, a shirt, and also stocking. So that's why they have their own shading and also highlight. And yeah, I recommend you guys to learn all types of clothing in case you wanna do a character design, because you know, like all types of clothes, you guys can just combine it, so it can create, yeah, the beautiful character design. Yeah, art is scary, of course. It's not that scary actually. You can learn it one by one. Maybe you can learn to draw head and hair and learn to draw eyes and then shirt, etc. and so on. Yeah, this one is from my old style actually. So my step is to first one is sketch, of course, and then add the folds. This one has two types of fold. The first one is drop fold, as you can see, to the straight vertical line here, and then compress fold because the arm folds like this. So that's why there are a lot of folds on, especially on this part. And then I added line art plus flat color, and I actually removed the sketch for the fold. It's just like a guideline for me. And then I erase the sketch and then add the simple shadow and highlight. And yeah, I turn the fold to a low opacity, and then I make a shape out of it like this one, the shadow, and then I just blend it with a tool that came from Clip Studio Paint. There's a blend tool. I just blend it, make it more blurry. Not everything is blurry. Maybe I added a little bit of solid shading like this one, this part, and then the color overlay just to make the shirt more saturated. Yeah, that is it. This is for my old style, and my newest art style is more simpler than this because I love simplistic now. Yeah, this one is just the tips, and then for stretch fold, not all folds are blurry, so you can leave some of the solid shading so it can look more realistic, like this one for example. This one has solid shading and this one is more blurrier. Yeah, you don't really need to do this actually, but if you want to go for semi-realism style, you really need to think about this. And this one is from the shading rules. Oh wait, I actually forgot to change the layout for finally. it's from ID class, so that's why it's called class art. Okay, this one is the English one, art lesson, finally. All right. Okay, the tips is the same as the rule of shading when the light comes from the left side, so that's why it creates a highlight on this specific part, and the shadow on the opposite way of the lighting. So that's the right one because the lighting comes from the right side, so that's why this right side is brighter and the darker part is the opposite side. And then you can blend it just to make more like a realistic style like this. And this one is another tip. So for thicker fabric material like jacket or uniform or suit, etc., the shape of the folds are more sharper, so it can create a lot of triangle like this one for example, or this one. And then when it's for thinner fabric, they can look more rounded like this one for example. I added a red line so you guys can identify it more clearly. Yeah, I think that's it for this class. And class is so dead and lonely. Is the class ID class more lively? Oh yeah, yes, it was. It was actually. And maybe it's not for the right time for me to stream at this time, but I don't know. Because usually I stream at 10 a.m. at my time, which is 12 p.m. GST. But usually there are US people, and when it's morning for me, it's night for them. So maybe that's why it's usually more crowded than this one. But it's okay though, as long as you are here. Actually, this lesson, I taught this lesson to one of my friends. They actually paid me to teach this, so that's why I make really good presentation. like from the design, etc. because they paid me for it. So that's why. And yeah, I was actually happy just to teach one person as long as they want to listen to me. So yeah, that's okay. Yeah, and it's midnight, of course. It's 2 hours ahead, right? Yeah, it's 11 p.m. for you. Yeah, you really need to sleep after this, Hajime. But yeah, I think that's it for today's class. I'm just gonna end it here and actually see you guys on the next week. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. That's why this looks more like a PowerPoint presentation. Yeah, because they paid me for it. And I can use this like all the time. Maybe next year if I want to teach another lesson, like a recap lesson, I can just use this again. So yeah, thank you, and goodbye everyone. Have a good night or morning. And bye bye. Risu, bye bye.